Okay, I remember what I was going to talk about, or at least I feel inspired enough to maybe talk about something useful. So, as a computer hacker, my take on what's going on in the United Kingdom is the following. Social media channels, AI influence, this, that, the other, and artificial intelligence are being used to spread and foment chaos in the United Kingdom. Who is doing it? It's very difficult to attribute any of it to a specific actor, but the agents that you can see spreading some of this propaganda are, and that doesn't mean there aren't Islamist riots, there aren't that it's not that there aren't right-wing riots. That doesn't mean any of that. It means the context by which those are presented to the viewer is supposed to make them feel a certain way towards a certain group of people or a certain thing. And the common theme is, attack the UK government. That's what the underlying message of this propaganda is, and it's so multitudinous. It's everywhere. The AI voice will fool some people. They will believe it's a genuine one of their own countrymen. We're in a very new sort of space of propaganda. It's dynamic. It's dynamic and hyperspatial. It's also real time. So, the riots in the UK, I hope they've simmered down by now, but I just know how the media apparatus works. So because I haven't seen lots of them in the headlines that have been pushed to the front of the page of the variety of outlets that I check, that tells me that they're still ongoing. There's still incredibly serious tensions. So what would my computer hacker ass do about it? Well, people need to talk to Google and YouTube and get these logs of these uploaders. And they need to find these IP addresses. They need to digitally surveil them, fingerprint them well enough that they can figure out a potential source. This is going to take a really long time. And of course, we know that a bunch of this stuff, some of this stuff might, anyway, a bunch of this stuff comes from places that aren't going to care, but you got to figure it out. And it's both organically driven and then it's augmented through the use of through the internet. It's significantly enhanced. And now with digital stuff and everything else, like really high end, AI, they can. You can just I see the issue very clearly, but to me the solution is that you ban these accounts that are posting these messages. The amount of computing power that it's going to take to do that is of enormous consequence. Certainly, it's when looked at it that way, it's a completely asymmetric attack that you're just totally backfooted on because it costs so much less to upload something in terms of computational power than it does to sift through data, find what's bad, and throw it out. Because one's just a post, the other's a sorting algorithm. So it's a catastrophe. So the answer is that an IP address that gets found to be an AI host, and it's pumping out videos and posts and stuff like that. System administrators need to just lock that one down. Just nope. Yeah, you're not gonna do that. You're using your computer as a weapon, so I'm just gonna turn that off. You're not being cooperative. And we can do that. We can do that. Every internet service provider can do that. And that's really what needs to be done. And then on the other side, just the address just gets blocked from YouTube. The other thing that needs to happen is YouTube needs to change the way its front page is designed. And they need to go back to just user curated. Period. The algorithmic weighting needs to be dropped down substantially. It should almost be its own product that like you can interact with. Like, I remember an extension to Firefox about 20 years ago, almost called Stumble Upon. It was very, very cool. And I think I'll talk about what that is in some other video, but you can Google what it was. Pretty neat. You could just press the Stumble Upon button and be endlessly entertained by a very, very interesting internet. Sorry about the nose thing. So that's the real solution. The real solution is the algorithms have been weaponized. You can't stop them from being weaponized, and they actually self-weight for extreme content. So the answer is that they need to be decoupled from the rest of the app. It's not that you get rid of them or anything like that. No, they just need to be decoupled, and that front user page experience from YouTube needs to completely change. It needs to just be picked up and thrown away. Yes, it engages users, but there's no way to fix the algorithm from self-weighting for extreme content, because human biology fixates on I'm going to call them the primitives. Lust and fear. And that is just constantly what you're fighting against with the algorithm. Lust and fear, and so fear, like all that stuff, extremism, the root of extremism is fundamentally comes from fear, right? Whatever it is, it comes from fear, and so totally change the front page user experience. So those are the first two things that I would do. One, on a system administrator's level, terminate the connections of the nodes that send the data. Two, completely change the front user page experience, because of how the algorithm works. People have been really having trouble articulating it to themselves, and this, that, the other, at least in media. And right now, I just thought of it. The easiest way to explain it: it self-weights for extreme content. And the reason why it self-weights for extreme content, that means it makes itself more likely to give it to you, is because of human biology, is because we fixate on what could be dangerous or what we want. And at a basal level, I'm talking brainstem, it's the 4 F's or whatever it is. And so flight, fight, or fixate, freeze. And so it's interacting with those mechanisms, it's interacting with the novelty center, and it fundamentally culminates in just, you can't help it. You're a mammal, it will do this to you. So it's that aspect of it's very fascinating. Like to the point where that we have to keep smartphones in zoos away from the primate area because it picks them up. And people have literally screwed with ape with reproductive cycles of troops, of guerrilla troops and stuff, by showing them porn. So it's we really don't understand how affected the human organism is by visual media, and oftentimes people are like it's men that are primarily more affected by that, but we've learned it's rather isometric. It doesn't really matter. And so these algorithms being self-weighting for extreme content, for engaging content, if I'm to further pacify, with wordsmithing, um, borderline soothsaying there. I mean, just insane. But yeah, it self-weights for engaging content. And so in times of duress, what's going to engage a population is going to self-weight for that. So eventually just everyone's just being and it's not even like it's just a fucking machine. Whack, 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 break the machine. And that's the answer to there. It's actually the cheapest answer to is everyone's, of course, cheap to develop. Would it screw up user experience? Absolutely. Would it mess with creators? Absolutely. Would people hate it? To the fullest. You're just in a situation, YouTube, where that's probably the smartest thing to do. Even especially if just banning things like that is impractical at a systems administrator level, then you just completely change the front page and how the front page works. No, consequences be damned. That's the situation that I would be in. I mean, it's unless you just want to acknowledge that, people can just use your platform to foment mass civil chaos, which, I don't think that's good. It's definitely not super investable, unless you're on the bond market. Well, that's enough spooky talk for today. Have a good one.